We are about a week away from one of the craziest times in sports season, and that's March Madness, college basketball tournaments, men and women's. And so I wanted to take an episode to kind of talk about March Madness and what it means. First of all, I don't know what it is about the sport of basketball, but for whatever reason, this playoff season is just always so intense, and that's why it's called March Madness, because it's so intense. There's so many crazy things that happen, and even if you're not a basketball fan, you tend to get involved, whether that's making a bracket just for fun, whether that's keeping up just to know what's going on. But a lot of times, this time of year, we all kind of get together in the United States and watch these crazy Cinderella stories, watch the madness of basketball, the overtimes, the like I said, the Cinderella stories, the ones you're like, yeah, we knew we were gonna win. Whether it's your team, the school you go to, the team you cheer for, or whether you always cheer for the underdogs, or you just pick your favorite mascots as you go through, or your favorite colors. This time of year is so fun to watch because it's so unpredictable. And it's really cool to watch. If you do play sports, as you watch those sports, you tend to say like, yeah, we know this team is doing well, or this team has the greatest shot at playoffs. But something about college basketball and these playoff tournaments, this conference tournament, national tournaments, there's usually a wild storyline that happens that we always predict that there's going to be a Cinderella story of some sort. But when we actually see it, it's like, never thought it was going to be that team, or I can't believe they beat this other team. March Madness is amazing to watch, but why do we like it so much? And also, what brings us in and makes it so we feel like such a part of it? Because I think that's a big thing, is we feel like we're a part of this journey with these teams, whether we go to that school or not, whether it's our favorite team in the playoffs, whatever it is, we always feel like a part of it. And I think that's because of the way it's presented and the way it's shown. I mean, it's on usually 3 channels. Now I'm blanking, but it's on a lot of channels. It's a big part. There's so many advertisements for it. There's many ways to be involved. You can just be a fan. You can play a bracket. You can have a competition with your friends, your family. It just, you can do what you want with it. And it's more than just playoffs. It's an event. And we love events, and we love competitions, and we love to see how they play off. And also, it's really cool to see these teams, these young men and women, crushing and doing their best in a sport that we love. And again, even if basketball isn't your sport, you're drawn to it because it's fascinating, because it has these intrigues and these wonderful storylines, and it connects to our hopes and dreams and our progress and our goals. We can see, when that Cinderella story happens, we think to ourselves, like, what's something a little out of reach that I have a goal for? If they could make it, if they could beat, a 1 seed, a 2 seed, when they're the 16th, I can reach my goal. I can take a next step towards it. I can do something that someone didn't expect because they did it. And it's just a fun thing to watch. And it's so interesting too, because it's across the country, and it feels like we're all connected in a way as we're all watching these games, these basketball games. We see, like I said, we see these young men and women, and we connect with them, and we actually also connect with the rest of the country because we're all watching these moments together. And so this is going to be a really short episode because I want to talk a little bit about March Madness and the way it works. But something with March Madness, like I said, is that connection. And so I always say, as we get into March, this 3rd month, this is when we start to kind of fade away from those intentions or those resolutions we set, as well as we start to feel a little bit more burnt out. The weather, it's been really gloomy and dark. Today it's actually sunny, but it's been really gloomy and dark. We start feeling a little more isolated, alone. Even if you don't have a mental health disorder, this time of year can be really tough. It just feels hard to push through. And March Madness gives us something to look forward to in this dark time. It gives us something to have fun with, not have to be overly involved, not have to be overly focused, but we can enjoy it. And we can find a way to connect it to ourselves again, to reset and re-jump and restart what we're feeling. Take a moment and think about all those teams. Think about the 1 seed through the 16 seed, and they all have this one goal in mind. They want to win a national championship. And now think about your goals. you set a resolution, you set an intention at the beginning of the year, and how are you going to keep making steps towards it? With March Madness, it's one game at a time. With our resolutions and intentions, it's one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time. And the thing is, with March Madness, if you lose, you're out. But with our intentions and our resolutions, we have so much more. If we mess up one day, we have another day. And so it's one of those things too, as we're watching this, we get excited and we see the Cinderella stories and we see, maybe we made a little bit of an outrageous resolution or intention, really out there, but if they can do it, we can do it. I can take another step towards my goal. It's way up there on the ladder, but if that 16 seed can beat a 1 seed, I can take one more step towards my goal. And it's also that way to reconnect with people, because so many people watch it. This is a time of year that it's really easy to reconnect with someone, because you can say, like, what team are you cheering for? You want to make a bracket, you want to have a mini competition, it can just be fun, it can be for whatever, but you can say, like, reach out to a friend you haven't talked to in a while and be like, hey, you want to make a March Madness bracket? Let's see what happens. And it can be a silly way to stay connected. Or if maybe basketball isn't your sport, but it's really big in your family, you can connect that way and be like, yeah, I made this bracket and I went off the mascots, or I picked the jersey color that I liked better, or, I picked all East Coast teams, West Coast teams, Midwest, whatever. It can just be a way for you to reconnect when you're feeling a little bit lost in this time of year, with yourself and with others, with your goals and just with life in general. And it's a reminder that life isn't a destination. That yes, there is this one goal they have of being a national championship, but it's also about that progress they make. How are they going to get closer to that goal? How are they going to work together as a team to achieve that goal? And if they don't get it, their lives aren't ruined. How can they readjust and reset and see how can they get closer the next year? How can they stay connected as a team, work together as a team, focus on the goals and support each other so they get as close as they possibly can? And that win, even when they do, if the team that does win, even when they do win, that's not the end for them. They won a national championship and it's really, really cool, but that's not the end for them. If their first years, they have 3 more years to see if they can win again. If it's their final year, how are they going to take that win and take what they learned from the sport into the rest of their life? And that's what I love about March Madness, is it's towards the end of the school year for college students, and it's that final push and that final reminder of we can do this. Because there's spring sports and they have their playoffs, but March Madness is something that it's so much bigger and so many more people watch it. And not because the other sports aren't good, because those spring sports are just as amazing, just as wonderful to watch as basketball. But something about March Madness, maybe it's just the name that someone came up with, that it connects with us all, but it gives us that push to get through the school year. It gives us that push to reconnect with our intentions and our resolutions. And it's something we all need, and it's something that can be supportive, it can be fun to watch, and it can give us that chance to reset. So like I said, today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter, just talking about March Madness and the way it kind of connects to all of us and the way it connects us as well. And just a reminder that this is your chance to restart and check in with yourself about your goals and see, what do you need to make that push? What do you need to be the 16 seed that beats a 1 seed? The one that has that Cinderella story that all of a sudden everyone's cheering for because they love to see the underdog. How can you be that with the goals that you've set? How can you take the next step you need, reconnect with people, or make connections stronger, whatever it is you need to do. And then Wednesday's episode is going to be more just about the pressure of playoffs and how the playoff world really changes versus the regular season. The pressures we change and things like that, but how we need to maintain routine and maintain kind of a normalcy within it. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, please leave a review and reach out if you have any questions or concerns.